convenient out there.
And welcome to our December 16th, 2025 Angels Camp City Council meeting. Roll call.
Yes.
Councilmember Behill.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sharado.
Here.
Mayor Shemente.
Here.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
And Councilmember Brolio.
Here.
Would you please all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 6, report out of closed session. No action was taken. Item number 7, approval of the agenda as posted or amended. Steve,
I have no request for amendment. Thank you.
any council member request a change in the order of the agenda? Anyone in public suggest? Is there anyone online, Michelle?
Just one person online, no questions.
No question? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the
So
agenda?
moved. Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Discussion from those present? Anyone online?
No.
Roll call?
Okay, Behill.
Aye.
Sharado.
Aye.
Shemente.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Brolio.
Yes.
Presentations? Any presentations? None? Moving on to item 8, public comment. The public may address the city council on any item of public interest not otherwise on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the city. No action may be taken. Matters to be addressed may be referred to city staff or placed on subsequent meeting agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes per person. Any public comment? If there is, please approach the podium, turn the mic on, and state your name.
Hello, I'm Gretel Crismarnia, and I would like to ask City Council for 2 things. My understanding is that the flags that were ordered for the downtown to kind of do holiday things or whatever are literally in the cart, and all they need to be is clicked to purchase. And so I would like to ask City Council to look into ordering those. Those
Are you
were
talking
all-
about the flag banners? Or
Yes.
the
Yes.
pole banners?
Yeah, my understanding is Rebecca had those all organized and ready to go, and they just haven't been purchased, and I don't know, but that would be a nice kind of spritz to downtown. The other thing I would like to ask City Council is I would like us to establish a national registry for a historic downtown. And that's something that we have to ask for, and then you guys apparently do the next step or phase or whatever. And I think that that would allow us to apply for historic downtown grants. And it would also allow us to do some particular improvements to buildings without having to do every single bit of, say, ADA or code compliance or whatever, because the whole entire town is a historic district. So those are my 2 comments this week. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Steve,
you.
can you make note of that? And
Yes. I'd be happy to.
if it's in your ability to do that first, and the
Yes.
second one, maybe bring back to us with additional information.
I got the downtown banner flags to purchase and then look into the national registry for the downtown, historic downtown.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I thought I had our list together. Jesse Gibbs, Center 21. The other thing, along with the historic designation, there's also the Main Street USA, which is another program that cities, downtowns like ours can get approved for, which also brings recognition and grant availability as well. So that's another one that we'd like maybe staff to look at.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
I'd be happy to look into that.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else present with public comment? Anyone online? Thank you. Those are great suggestions. Thank you.
We've been working real hard.
Moving on to item 9, consent items. We have 2. A is approved draft minutes of December 2nd, 2025. And B, receive and file accounts payable, checks and treasurer's report, November 2025. Does any council member like to pull one of those items? Any member of the public want to pull an item? Anybody online? Michelle?
No.
Would like to pull an item? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve consent?
So moved. I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion from the council, from those present? Anyone online, Michelle?
No.
Roll call?
Yes. Biko,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Scott. Aye. Rolio.
Aye.
Moving on to action items. 10A, ordinance 552, introduce, waive the first reading by substitution of title, hold a public hearing, and schedule January 6, 2026 for a second reading to consider adopting ordinance 552, updating the 2022 building codes to the 2025 building codes.
Mayor, council members, the building code updates every 3 years. This is our triennial update. If you schedule this for January 6th, it would actually go into effect on February the 5th, 2026. I have in the staff report that it goes into effect January 1st. It actually goes into effect for the state. It would go into effect for us February 5th, 2026. There are no significant changes in the updates, and according to our building inspector, the California residential code has actually been getting less and less stringent as they go along. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Council have any questions for staff?
Nope.
Hearing none, we'll open up the public hearing. The public now has an opportunity to ask questions regarding this ordinance.
And we do not need action other than to
Okay, wait, I
schedule
have
this for
to see.
January 6th.
Oh, thank you. So any public comment from those present? Any public comment from anyone online regarding this item?
No.
And once again, Amy, what do we need to do? We need to,
Schedule January 6th.
Schedule it for January 6th for a second reading.
thank you. We'll close public hearing. And we will move on to 10B, Resolution 2591. Except there are 3 resolutions, and Amy, they're all, I'm gonna read it, but it's not just a resolution, that's an option, right? 2591?
Resolution 91A and 91B is an either or, and I'll go over that.
Okay, so
during my
I will read it. Reimbursement agreement for the offset water system improvements installed by Eureka Oaks Habitat for Humanity, Calaveras. Amy.
Mayor and council members, the presentation up on the screen right now is a little tiny bit different than the one you had in your packet. I actually was trying to simplify it. Back in 2019, we were implementing a program in our general plan that said we would reduce fees for workforce housing if we got grants, which is one of the only ways you can do it. So in doing that, we had basically said that you could get down to 0 if you were to get, say, the $3 million grant that we thought we were going to get for our water treatment plant. So at the time, it was in talking about fees to reduce, we decided, okay, let's try to go for zeros on those water capital improvement mitigation fees. So at the time, Habitat for Humanity had applied for a project from us. And if we had successfully gotten that grant for 99 water connections, they would have not had to spend $279,000, which now that we don't have that grant, they will have to spend some of that. Similarly, we told them, according to one of the conditions of project approval, oh, we'll be able to get that offsite water line done before you build. Well, the timing wasn't such that we were able to do that. So that ended up costing up to $545,000. In other words, there's a shortfall for Habitat for Humanity based upon what they expected at the time their project was approved and what is real right now. So their shortfall is actually about $1.3 million. And so this whole presentation is how to get that 1.3 down to closer to what they actually expected it to be. Next slide. So the first remedy, if you will, is that we do have a FEMA grant coming that will do some water and some wastewater capital improvements. And of that, approximately 357,000 is for water. So they will be able to take advantage of that with no action from you, and that would get their shortfall down to approximately, it would get it under $1 million to about 955,000. Next
Say-
slide. Yes.
Hold on, go over that one more time,
Yes.
please.
So the FEMA grant that we do have, we didn't get the $3 million for the wastewater or the water treatment plant, but we did get one for water and wastewater improvements in our capital improvement plan from FEMA.
Okay, but that's not tied to any other project?
No, it will be spent for a project in our capital improvement plans.
Okay,
That's all we look at when we do these.
just a project, okay, so that could be spent on this project?
As long as it's in our capital improvement program, which these dollars will be spent on our capital improvement program. It doesn't have to be specific to each project
Okay,
from what the resolution, yes.
Okay, you mentioned the, needing the grant to do this.
Yes,
And this is my memory, I don't recall that being a condition. Is that spelled out in the development agreement?
the development agreement states that Habitat for Humanity shall pay the fees in effect at the time. And so this is all done through our fee schedule. The fee schedule does in fact state that it's contingent upon getting grants. The development agreement does not.
Because I don't remember that being, I don't remember that being a caveat. I don't remember going back to the board and saying, you know, guys, we might be able to get this down to zero if the city's successful in getting this grant, but I don't remember that being a discussion at all. That's
Yeah,
why I'm asking.
and in fact, the resolution adopting those fees specifically states that you have to have grants in order to offset it. The reason is we couldn't say, okay, Habitat or any workforce housing, you don't have to pay these capital improvement mitigation fees, and then put it on the remainder of the public to pay for it and raise their capital improvement mitigation fees. You cannot do that. You have to establish a nexus. And the only way to reduce fees without putting it on the back of somebody else is to do it with money that comes from the outside in, so you have to do it using a grant.
see, I kind of remember, because we're talking like 2018, 19, somewhere, I mean,
2019.
I'm trying to step back,
It was
I'm assuming
2019,
with you in our heads.
yes.
Yeah, you were,
When we were
you were
just-
fresh, it was 19 when I started playing the council.
Yeah, so I'm trying to step back and
Yes.
remember all this at the same time, so.
And it's
okay. And that's, I
actually-
do remember something,
It's absolutely spelled out in the resolution.
okay.
But the news gets better as we go along.
I hope so. Morgan hopes so.
Okay, so next slide.
That's the research right now.
Remedy number 2, and this is where you would be making a decision. And we have Dave Richard here today in case you have questions about this option that is being presented to you. We originally talked about $545,000, which was an estimate for the offsite water line. And that was based upon what we spent on Mark Twain and Purdy. So basically, the actual cost based on going out to bid that Habitat did is coming in around $452,400, basically, for the actual costs. However, Dave and I, in talking before this meeting, have found some additional costs that were not recovered in that. So what we're asking for you to do in your option between 91A and 91B is to provide a reimbursement agreement for the offsite water line, which we had anticipated, we, the city, thought we could build in time, but we could not, to either determine that we would reimburse Habitat 55% of the cost of that offsite water line or 100% of the cost of that water line. Forget the number, we'll cap it at 545, but we would ask that in the reimbursement agreement, we simply say either reimburse them for 55% or 100%.
So, and that water line project was always part of our long-term CIP projects, correct? To create that loop at
Yes.
that end of town.
Yes,
And had Eureka Oaks not come about, we still want to put that water line in, correct?
just at a lower priority.
Just in a lower priority. Okay, okay. And that is not only benefiting the 107 homes, but it's all the residents and all the future residents that if we do some annexation in that area, there'd be more fire, more water, I mean, all of those things as a result of this extended line.
And even if we didn't, it does do some fire improvements. There are additional fire hydrants. When we do Foundry, there would be a hookup ability
Right.
there. So there are multiple benefits.
And this is about 3/4 of the loop, Dave, so we completed about 3/4 of that project.
Correct.
Okay. So if you choose to do 100% reimbursement, the shortfall would be down to about $500,000. If you decided to stick with the 55%, and Dave can talk to that, you'd be around $700,000. Next slide. Remedy number 3, that's resolution 2599. We're going to ask that you allow us to, well, okay, I see I mixed these up. The FEMA grant that we had, don't look at the left, don't look behind the curtain. The FEMA grant we had was not just for water, it was also for sewer. So basically, we could allow them to have an additional offset of $386,250, which would bring, did we skip a slide? Could you go back?
And back.
And then one more. There we go. Okay, no, one more down.
This one?
There you go. And then next slide. Okay. So we are asking you under Resolution 25-99 to also allow us to go back and revisit the fee schedule and allow us to do dollar for dollar offsets for wastewater, just as we do for water. That's sort of confusing, but right now, under our fee schedule, if we got $10 billion for water, in grants, we could do $10 billion in offsets up to 99 connections. We can't do that with wastewater. But if you direct us to go back and bring back to you that option, then for workforce housing, we would be able to give them dollar for dollar reductions for wastewater connections. And if we did that for Habitat, for example, we would get them down to $320,000 if you go with a reimbursement of 55%, or down to $117,000 shortfall if you go with 100% reimbursement for that offsite water line.
And Amy, you may have said it, but repeat, anyone could apply for workforce housing
Yes,
grants,
yes.
correct?
Yes,
And what's the threshold for a contractor to come in to do that?
80% of the area median income. In
Okay,
other words, around 80,000 for a family of 4.
so if we had other projects and other contractors coming in
Yes,
to provide workforce housing,
yes.
they would be entitled,
They could apply for the
then
same
they could apply for these
reductions
grants.
under our fee schedule. Yes.
And by having them in the queue, it allows us to go out and get grants to help support. Are these grants readily available?
Not always,
But they're,
but we have been working fairly hard to pursue them and try to get them. And I wouldn't call them easy, but by having our capital improvement plan up to date and our housing element up to date, it vastly improves our chances.
is this state money or federal money?
FEMA, federal,
Federal, it's all federal. Okay,
in this particular pot that we're talking about right now.
thank you.
And then next slide.
Amy,
Yes,
is the grant availability equal even if the workforce housing exceeds the housing element requirements?
no. In the fee schedule, again, because we had to provide a nexus, we set a cap at 99 connections. And why did we set it at 99? Because our current housing allocation from the state requires us to have 99 units of workforce housing. So that's where we came up with that number.
So with Habitat, since they exceed 99 units, is there still room for other workforce housing technically?
There is an option in your fee schedule that if the city council chooses to extend, it has to, you can extend the number of hookups you will allow, but it will take a city council action under our fee schedule.
Okay, thank you.
And then the last one, because we still have that 117,000 sitting around, we are asking two
Say that
other
again, the
remedies.
117 sitting around.
117, go back one slide, sorry. There we go. So if the shortfall under option 2
Oh, 117
is
shortfall, I see it on the side,
$117,000,
okay. Gotcha.
we have yet an additional remedy, that would be Resolution 99-100, where we're asking, as per request from Habitat for Humanity, that any credits they might get towards water or wastewater through their reimbursement agreement, that they be allowed to apply those to water or wastewater or traffic police, park, fire, long-range planning, any impact mitigation fee. For us, it's a bookkeeping item. For them, it helps them, like upfront, more fully finance their first 10 houses, for example. Lastly, should we get additional water or wastewater grants, and the council should decide to extend the program for additional housing past 99 units, we might be able to pay for even more reductions. Yes?
Another question. Those credits, if it comes down to that, will they expire or will they be allowed to go through the 30-year development agreement? Will it be good 20 years from now as opposed to just next year or 2 years from now?
Yes, but of course, it's not going to take 20 years to build the project.
It better not. It better not, but there's no timeline, there's no
There is not.
no, okay, no expiration date on that credit card. Okay.
We would actually set up a balance account so that we would take it out as you go along.
So the only dollars that we're using are enterprise dollars that we would have expended on that CIP project, that $545,000. The rest of it's coming through grants
Yes, for offsets.
for offsets.
Yes, but it all deals with those enterprise funds, the whole thing.
Right. But I mean, that dollars are coming out of our now $10 million reserve because we've allocated 10 million for CIP projects. And that was one of those that had not been identified but was on the list. Those are the dollars we're using for that 3/4
Yes,
loop.
yes. All of it's capital improvement. That's why they're so very, very, very important. And to have realistic ones, then you can do things like this.
And the rest of it is in the form of grant dollars if we
Yes.
so choose to expend them.
Yes,
And at this point, this is the only workforce housing project that we have
that has requested.
that has
this
requested the
discount,
funds.
yes. And I will tell you that you also have to record a document when you make that request, agreeing to 30 years for the city to keep them as workforce housing. That means if you sell it to somebody, it's got to sell it to somebody with workforce income. Although, as Morgan will tell you, I believe you are under a 50-year requirement for some of your funding.
30-year for Calhoun.
It is still 30.
Yeah.
Okay. We're consistent.
But this does not preclude those 107 new residents with 107 meters. They will be paying what every other resident is paying for sewer and water.
Yeah, you're still gonna have your monthly charges, you're still gonna have your actual physical meter
Right.
and your connection hookup. This is all capital improvement stuff.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Can you go back to the slide where you had the wastewater, the FEMA grant
yes.
sewer? So as Michelle can tell you, we're working our way to finalizing that grant from FEMA and that, and we've actually asking for more than that number. Because those numbers are based on our original agreement with, original application and that, and so so that number, we may get a number bigger than that. And so I don't know if at the end of the day, whatever is decided, if it should be whatever we get sewer-wise out of that grant, it becomes part of this offset. Rather than that specific number, it's whatever we get.
And in fact, that resolution does cover any number or any amount we should get up to 99 connections. This is just to give you an idea of what kind of discounts we are anticipating.
So I'm just saying that number there could be higher.
Correct.
A couple $100,000 higher.
which would wipe out that remaining 170.
So,
And if you could keep going to the end, there's just a summary slide there. There we go. 2 amendments to the reimbursement agreement. 91A, 91B, we would ask that when you pass that resolution, you not use an actual number other than not to exceed $545,000, and that you specify either a 55% reimbursement or a 100% reimbursement. And secondly, that we get the name of our city attorney correct and their address correct, which we did not do. And then the very last slide, just a summary. The first 2 are about the offsite water. The second one is to apply all reimbursement credits to all categories of impact mitigation fees. And the last one is to direct staff to come back to you to amend our fee schedule in order to allow up to 100% offsets for wastewater capital improvements subject to grant funds.
So we're doing 3,
You're doing 3.
picking one at the top and then the second and
Next
the.
year.
Yes.
Any other discussion from council? Any questions for staff? Amy?
I'll wait on the public, I've got comments,
Okay.
I'll wait.
Caroline?
Go ahead.
Caroline? Kara? Any questions? Alan?
So I have a question on the 55 versus 100. Where did we come up with a 55% reimbursement versus 100% reimbursement?
He needs to call for it. All
It's
right.
all his fault.
He's a Packers fan.
what we ended up doing, Councilman, is we went through and looked at the water line improvements and broke them down into a series of elements. And looked at each element and decided, okay, to what extent is this strictly benefiting Habitat for Humanity versus the City of Angels? And so breaking them down by those increments, putting a cost associated with those increments, and then taking a percentage of those costs, again, based on, is this a full benefit for Habitat? Is this a full benefit for the city, or is it somewhere in the middle? When you break it down into 4 pieces and do all the math, you come up with a 55-45 split. So that's just looking strictly at, okay, Habitat, that and the like. As Amy indicated and discussed, this water line improvement was way down on the schedule within our CIP. And so part of it is this work needed to be done in order to support this project. And so that's where it kind of boils down to, it's sort of like the first in has to pay, and they're like the first in. And so that's where we kind of came up with this split versus just recognizing that 100% this was going to be a project that the city was going to build eventually.
Pages 43 and 44 of your agenda have the map that he used and the calculations he used.
The Capello part of it, from Capello to Highway 49, that was on the books to be completed prior to the development even coming forward to the city.
Yeah.
And the city had agreed at the time of the development agreement with Habitat that that was something the city was going to do, and Habitat would have no cost involved there.
Right.
So your
That's
formula that you did, that didn't exist in 2019, it only existed starting now. So I think it's unfair to all of a sudden go back and say, Habitat, you need to pay us for your share of this pipeline that we told you we were gonna pay for.
Right, that job is supposed to be done anyways. Sorry.
And Dave, so, I'm sorry.
We're good. The total cost of that project was 500, I'm trying to keep all my numbers straight in my head.
We're using 545.
545.
We're using 545.
We estimated, Councilman, 545. It actually came in at, based on the information provided by Habitat, came in, 400 something.
About 100,000 less.
Now, there are other costs that Habitat has incurred, that Habitat has incurred just beyond the construction costs. Habitat paid for the design of that pipeline.
Okay.
Habitat has paid for the inspection of that pipeline. Habitat has paid on the engineering side for the permitting, all the permitting that we've gone through with Caltrans for that pipeline. So there's, when we're talking about the 452, that's strictly a hard construction cost. They've had these other costs that they too have, that they have incurred as part of getting this project built.
So what is the total cost on that?
I don't have that number, but it's, I would suspect it's somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000, well, if we were to go back and add all those costs together, Councilman.
That's why we have set a not to exceed to incorporate those costs of 545 if you want the 100.
Any other questions, Alvin?
Yeah, I got more, but
Well, I just,
I got a lot.
I want to know if Habitat's comfortable with the 545 number.
Right, I have other questions. You want to hop up there? Because I got other questions too. Since we'll throw you on the fire too. Go with Scott's first.
I'll take it. I do, as of right now, we don't have total submitted invoices from our subs for all pieces of the offsite water line. We're hoping to collect that shortly because we're actually wrapping up infrastructure and we need to submit everything. So I do, as of right now, I feel like that the 100,000, I don't know, I don't think we'll exceed that. So I feel comfortable with the up to 545.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I have other, so if the city of Angels would have done this job all in their lonesome, so there's no offset there of the we're gonna say 545, of 545, and you didn't get the FEMA grant, and we didn't, how would we have been offsetting things
you wouldn't have,
too? So I'm, okay.
right?
The smile,
Amy, what did you respond? I mean, there's no way to.
was there another
without
plan,
those
was there
grants,
another
even
plan, right, to pay for these water fees and everything? I'm asking as a whole
To offset.
project, or to, because the FEMA was how we were going to help offset these
The
payments.
FEMA wasn't, it was a $3 million.
Or 3 million, that's right, it was a $3 million.
It was a $3 million
But
payment.
the
But the
Capella
state said,
pipeline wasn't part of that.
No, correct. It was not.
Right,
Capella
but if we would have done the job all on our own, there would have been no offset, like we said we were going, we
In
didn't do it.
2018, the Capella to 49, that 10-inch pipeline, that was already approved and funded. And just didn't get done. It was already approved and funded before Habitat even came in.
Okay.
And that was a condition of the subdivision of getting occupancy.
That's what I thought, that's what I remember, is that had to have been
That
done.
had to be done, but it was okay because it was gonna be done anyway. So that was,
Right.
and at the time, to me, that was a nothing burger. That, okay,
Right, that
so
was-
he's gonna do that.
That's what I remember, yeah,
Right.
The
so,
condition specifically states that the city anticipated completing it. However, if we could not, and Habitat had to do it, that we would do a reimbursement agreement.
okay.
So that's exactly what the condition states.
And
that's
so
what
the
we are doing.
55% thing's kind of wonky.
No, I agree. I'm all for reimbursing them 100%. I'm just wondering how that number got figured in. I was wondering if the city would have actually done the work and we didn't get, which we didn't get that, how was Habitat going to make up for those water, how are they going to pay for those water sewer steps anyways? And now we're trying to figure in the FEMA grant and some other offsets too.
There weren't options.
There weren't options. Okay,
We
that's what I was.
we absolutely believed we were gonna get that $3 million
Okay,
water treatment plant grant, and we would not be having these discussions.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
And Dave, just a question for you. While this project may have been lower on our priority list, there's nothing that precludes us, based on necessity, to move a project up. So, I mean, it was something that we were gonna do. It happened quicker than we thought it was gonna happen, and it just maybe, but it doesn't push something out of the queue because there's still dollars left to continue on our 5-year plan.
That's my next question.
The way that we providing better water supply to that part of the community, that side of Highway 4 along Highway 49, the primary project to do that is the Foundry Lane, is bringing the water line when Foundry Lane is extended up to Highway 49. That's and with an interconnection across Highway 4 and into the main system in the downtown. That is the best solution to providing water to that part of the community. And that part of that, you want to do that, but then you also need this loop that we've been talking about. But so the Foundry Lane project is contingent on a whole series of other things that are going on. And, and so that's where there's certainly justification for saying, let's move that, or to move that project, the specific water line that was built along 49. There was certainly, we could justify doing that because the Foundry Lane project is way off. Now, so, I don't know, I just to make everybody feel good, the water line is done.
Yeah, it's done.
The water line is done. It's been accepted. And when we were with city staff this afternoon over looking at some things over in that area and that, we talked to the residents in the apartments that are in Capella. We said, well, have you noticed anything different? Oh, we got much higher pressure. We have lots of water. It's nice with our showers and all this kind of thing. So, the community over there is benefiting from that project. And obviously, we're getting close with the completion of the Habitat project and that. So, I like to be able to walk away from a project and say, well, we wanted to improve things there and we did. And that's what's happened out there.
Thank you, David. Any other?
So taking this 545 and doing that project, which I'm happy has happened and done, and people are happy, customers are happy, and residents. So, but does this, and we're taking FEMA dollars and moving things around, does this change anything with the fee structure that we just did for our water rates? Does that move plans? Every aspect of that we've set forward is still in the queue the same way it was. It doesn't change anything. Okay. Right.
The next sewer project that's planned is the FEMA project, and we're going to go through another round with our friends at Calaveras to try to validate every number that we've given them to date, and hopefully we're going to hear early next year that yes, we're good. Plans are being prepared by Aaron's team, and we'll look at bidding this project next spring.
Carolyn, any questions?
No, my question was on the other CIP. I just wanted to make sure that like the Murphy's grade stuff, like all of that's still on track.
That still is on track.
Okay.
That still is on track.
And Michelle, if not to put you on a spot, I should have asked you this earlier so that you could have been prepared. And probably we won't know until you do, I call it first interim, until you take your first look at our budget. But do you have a sense that even with our new rate structure, that you're seeing dollars still fall to the bottom so that we will have additional funds available for CIP projects?
CIP, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was all put into when I did my analysis pre-budget or right around budget time.
Okay.
And then I brought you the proposed rates, factoring all of that in there. We were still going to have money that would fall and then roll over into our CIP. We have a budgeted amount each year.
So when we created that 5-year plan and allocated 10 million out of the 20 million, that $10 million now is it's probably more than $10 million right now.
Yeah, yes.
Exactly how much is it? I'm only joking. Okay, so that's good news. So we are building that fund to continue doing projects.
We are, and we have it invested in earning about 4% on that. So we're also seeing higher interest than we anticipated.
Perfect. I'm sorry, Scott, you were going to make a comment? Are you?
Is public comment done, or we?
No, I haven't even opened it up yet.
Okay.
Did you have another question before we open it up to the public?
Clarification. Who paid for the Highway 49 portion of the pipe? Habitat. So Habitat paid for
49?
the along 49. So Habitat paid for the 10-inch pipe from the apartments from Capella to 49. And that was in the development agreement. If that happened, there was a reimbursement. So to me, that's pretty clear what we need to do there. And then Habitat also paid for the Highway 49 pipeline, which was not part of the agreement. So there's never an agreement that said Habitat, you have to pay for this Highway 49 pipeline as a condition for the subdivision.
It wasn't broken down in that manner. It's an off-site water line necessary to serve.
But that should have been on this, that should never have been a habitat. And it was nice that we were able to, facilitate it and get Habitat to get done earlier, but that was never a financial burden that Habitat would have had to take on.
Well, the city absolutely anticipated having it done before they would need it. And so everything had to be done by
And that's why
Habitat.
we're talking about the
Right, so Habitat did it because they had it in their grant, they could do it, but now they should rightfully expect to be reasoned for everything they spent.
And I think that.
And that's what we're doing.
Right.
And that's
You
what we're
guys
talking
to make
about.
that
Because the
decision
whole hook
tonight.
with the water hookup thing confused me. To me, it's just pipes
Yeah.
and
So,
checks written.
any other comments from council? Questions? Hearing none, we'll open it up to the public. Any public comment?
I have a question.
You have to the mic.
Oh, we do?
Yes,
He is.
we can't hear you online.
Okay.
Thank you, Jess.
Why
Thank you.
here?
Thank you, that's why we're here.
Okay, good. I just want to understand this a little bit. So you're talking, there's a $357 water FEMA grant and a $386,000 sewer grant. They're two separate.
They're one grant.
One for 357 and one for 386?
Yeah, there's one grant for those two numbers combined.
Okay, and you're just using it for water and sewer?
Yes, because we're actually in fact using it for water and sewer
Okay.
on the ground.
Okay. And then the 2018 money that was going to be used from the Capello to 49 that was already allocated, where did that money go?
Again, it never said Capello to 49. It said off-site water line.
Okay.
And that money is part of our capital improvement plan. And when you collect fees, you collect it for the entire capital improvement plan. When you start doing projects, you don't collect it for, oh,
A
that
specific
dollar's going
project.
there, that
Okay.
dollar's going there.
Okay. And then my only other comment is, I totally like the idea of reimbursing them, and I understand that they have done above and beyond. However, if there is another, if you guys are going to have this concept of reimbursing workforce housing for Habitat, if another contractor comes in and wants to do workforce housing, I think you need to be aware that those same rules apply to another contractor.
And that's what we talked about, and that's what I asked Amy.
Okay.
If
Yeah, I
we-
think it's in the fee structure, that's
Yeah,
what she's saying.
it
Yeah,
is.
it's built in.
Well, because we talked about that when I was on council, but then, and nothing ever came to
Right.
fruition. And now that it is, I just think that
Right,
that
'cause there
should
was
be.
another project over by Angel Oak subdivision
Yeah.
that was kicking around at that time too.
Correct, and they could have also applied because again, these discounts are for workforce housing, not for Habitat for Humanity. It's in our fee schedule.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Those are just my comments.
Any other comments from the public? Anyone online?
No.
Okay, we'll take these we'll take.
I got more questions. Sorry. I do, I got all sorts of weird questions. So, Habitat did the work for $545,000. Why are we not putting it back in why are we not paying them back for work done? How does that work? They put the water line in for us, and rather than pay them back over here, we're gonna put it over here, but they still paid for the water line. So why are we just not paying them directly for the water line and treating the water and sewer hookups all on their own separate?
For the same reason we did not pay the medical center when they put in a traffic light. We gave them credits against their traffic impact mitigation fees.
That's right, we did, okay.
So it's the same thing, and our code basically says that. If you do something that's in our capital improvement plan, we will do a reimbursement agreement with you,
Okay,
period.
okay.
Otherwise, you could end up having to conceivably pull money out of general funds or something
Right,
like that.
okay.
You don't want to do that.
Okay.
Next question.
I don't know. So we're trying to whittle this down to zero. And I remember when Scott was at the beginning of this, we were trying to whittle it down to zero. And I'm trying to step back, but I remember I want this project to go through, and I think it's absolutely amazing. I'm all good. But also when everyday Joe Blows come in and want to build a house and they have to pay $14,000. I understand there's 107 homes here and there's property tax and sewer and water hookups and the whole 9 yards. But we also, at least from my memory of stepping back a few years, we also said we couldn't take it to zero. We couldn't do that at that time too. So I'm trying to jar my memory at the same time at least as council,
Yeah.
from what I'm remembering, is because we also had other people that wanted to do things too and other projects, and how do you offset those projects, and or a 5-home or a 7-home or a 2 homes. So I'm trying to remember all this stuff, and there's just a lot of stuff going through my head. I'm
It
sorry.
is-
I'm
I had to go
rambling.
back through all of it myself, and I wrote most of it in 2019 and did all the nexus studies. Again, it's only for 99 connections, period,
Right.
in the fee schedule, and only for water and wastewater was the idea. And again, outside monies to do it. And probably most importantly, from a planner's perspective, you're doing it because you have a general plan program that you were implementing that was very specific, that you would adopt a program for workforce housing to reduce capital improvement connection fees for workforce housing by using grants.
Okay.
So getting back to, I'm sorry.
I got more.
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I'm going
Go
to eat
ahead.
up a lot of time on this one.
It's okay.
And then, so I mean, my calculations here without going back. So you had 14,000 for a hookup, 107 homes. That's 1.5 million dollars worth of hookups. So if we offset this 545, there's still $1 million. If we don't do the FEMA, the 360 and 300 and something, whatever it was, if we don't do those, there's still $1 million to come up with. So my question to Habitat is, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, where's that money coming from? Does the project stand still? Are there no water and sewer hookups at that time, or how? What do we do moving forward if we don't? Because we could use those FEMA grant money for other things in our own CIP project too, correct?
We will, okay.
Amy, let me chime in for just a minute.
Go for it.
Steve finally got it.
The
It's
same
not funny.
questions I had. I had
Yeah, same
Amy
question.
explain this to me about a week ago,
Dave.
and I was finally able to get it, that this is the entire capital improvement plan. And so this FEMA grant, whether we spend the FEMA dollars across town on a different project or reimburse for something that's happening over here, it's all the same pot of money. And it finally clicked at some point after probably frustrating Amy to death.
No, Dave,
And probably
Dave drew a
Dave as
picture.
well, that it finally did make sense that, in my mind, the FEMA grant that we're getting includes water and wastewater for a project across town, right? There's about 350 in water and about 350 in wastewater, but it's all the same grant for some other project that's related to capital improvement. These fees that Habitat will need to pay are for capital improvements. So since we're getting this grant for capital improvements over here, our fee structure allows, without you taking any action, to offset the water portion of the fees that they would have to pay. So that first 350 for water doesn't require any action for you because it's already in our fee structure to do.
Okay.
So what 99 is asking for, sorry, let's go down to 100. What 100 is asking for is the same thing we have with water currently. Would you like us to have that same program available for wastewater?
Okay.
Because it's not in wastewater in our fee structure right now, it's only in water. So would you like us to create a new fee structure that includes this zero offset for 99 connections for wastewater like we have in water? That's what 100 is. 99 is with the 350 in water that requires no action for you to do, can they use that offset for other fees like traffic mitigation and school impact fees and anything else? It's all part of the big capital improvement project.
And what would happen if you did that? If, let's say, they used a capital improvement fee for water that we'd given them, and they want to pay it for traffic, we're going to take that money out of the traffic impact mitigation fee, stick it in the water capital improvement.
Okay.
But again, you'll drive yourself crazy trying to think of it on a project by project basis as opposed to the capital improvement
The whole.
pot. Is that going to balance? The answer is yes on the capital improvement pot.
Okay. I'm
But you
kind
will
of
be
wrapping
just-
my head around it, I think.
You will make.
Or I'm just,
Dave drew a picture that,
no, I'm getting it, I think, here. I'm
We
just.
have a whiteboard.
the idea was, you don't look at a project-specific thing.
Right.
Right.
That's the whole
You
thought.
forget it's habitat, just forget that. It's just, here's our pot of money for water, here's our pot of money for wastewater, capital improvements. Is it gonna balance? Yeah. But only if you take outside funds that you weren't expecting and use those to decrease.
Okay. Think.
Any other questions?
No.
So I do have a question, a follow-up to what Gretel asked. If we, and I think we're talking two things. We're talking about the extension of the CIP project, that water line, and then the grants to offset sewer and water hookups, right? They're really two different. So ask, with her question, if I did workforce housing right now, and there weren't any grants available to offset the hookups, I'd be, well, Mike, sorry, I'm glad you want to build this, but there isn't any money?
Correct.
Okay,
This is all dependent on grants. Again, going back to that general plan program. You can only do it if you get outside money to bring in that you more or less were not expecting.
unless the council, on a case-by-case basis, like we almost did with Angels Oaks, is enter into an agreement with that specific.
It is a requirement that if you're going to get the discount, you have to, for 30 years, file a development agreement, is basically what we've been using, to commit to the city that for 30 years, you're going to keep that as workforce housing.
Right.
Anybody, period. Up to 99 connections. And once we hit 99, you guys can make that more.
Right, but if we made it, but it's always the funding's contingent upon the grants that we
Yes.
receive.
Yes. Otherwise, you would have to pass that cost on to others.
No, I don't want to
And you
pass
don't
it
wanna
on,
do
but.
that.
And you can't pass it on to everybody.
And you
Right,
can't.
no, right, so, it's almost first come, first served then,
Yes.
until the next round of dollars come
Yes.
around.
And you have to raise it from 99 above.
And
Because
you-
they're gonna meet the
and-
99
But is it a 99 on an annual basis, or just?
No, through 2027.
until the housing is redone, right?
Yes, which we are doing next year.
So they're only at 99, the other 8 will have to be,
They're paying the full.
they're paying full.
Okay,
Or,
Okay.
yeah,
okay.
right? Or am I
No,
still
you're
following?
You
Okay.
are.
Are condo hookups the same,
So
so you're
that's
saying
what
condo
it
building the
is.
same as a single family? You have to six times a single family hookup?
Multifamily is different than single family.
With 107 homes.
And,
Okay.
and again, I hate using the phrase hookup because it's not really the hookup, it's the capital improvement.
Yes,
impact
and I learned that this week.
Okay.
Yes, I know what it is now.
It's as confusing as you can get.
So two things would have to happen. We'd have to raise our workforce housing element above 99 to allow another contractor to take advantage.
No, it's first come, first served.
I know, but if we've used up our
Housing
99,
development is met.
the housing, if we've met our housing element, workforce housing element, we then would have to extend that or increase that amount.
Yes.
And then we'd also have to hope that we're gonna get a grant to offset water and sewer hookups.
And you only have to, I won't even finish that sentence.
Okay,
Morgan, don't do 99 houses before 2027.
Got it.
So that's a good, I have one
As
more
long
question.
as we do that, then we're good. Or
Okay.
we get a whole bunch more grants and we can come back to you and go, hey, we
Okay.
got a lot more grants than we were
Okay.
expecting.
And the other side too is if the housing element needs are met, the city may not want more workforce housing.
Right.
So we may not want another developer to come on board and say, and build these apartments. We may say, you knock yourself out, but we're not gonna participate.
And the new regional housing needs assessment has been adopted, and yes, we are going to need more.
Okay.
but it's not a bad thing if the income is $80,000 to qualify. I mean, that's,
It's workforce
Oh, no, I know.
housing, it's for a lot
it's,
of people.
yeah, I mean,
It's
so
not
it's
sanctioning
not a
stuff,
bad
right.
thing. It's not a
Right.
bad thing.
No, I have no issue. But okay, so my next question, I guess,
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
So if, heaven forbid, habitat stumbles, something happens, 42 homes built.
Mhm.
And we have another developer that wants to come in. Are those specifically because they chunked that out, they've carved that out for Eureka Oaks. If somebody comes in tomorrow and wants to build 10 homes
And they
and gets them built quicker,
Yes,
yes,
they can get the discounts.
they can get the same discount. So
At the expense
so it's a
of
race to the
having
finish
that
line.
case.
It's a race to the finish line for 99 homes for Eureka Oak to get the discount on those
Last.
360 and 360 for a rough number.
Yes,
Because anybody else can come and apply for those.
anybody else?
So if somebody wanted to build a workforce housing 5-unit home, 5-unit thing
Yes.
in the time,
Yes.
somebody else could come in and apply for this and get those same, pulled from that
Basically
pool of
knock
money.
them out from
Yes.
that amount.
Right, and I'm just, so you would be down to 94 if somebody built 5 homes.
So it's another
Okay.
reason to lose sleep over tonight.
Or,
Sorry, Morgan, I'm just trying to figure this all out in my head.
or more optimistically, we get more grants than we were.
I'm all for that too, I'm just, yes, okay. I'm just trying to keep for anybody that's wanting to build and develop and thinking, and I'm just,
Yeah.
okay.
Again, that's why we did it through our fee structure and did not do it for the development agreement for a specific project.
Okay. Any other questions? Are we ready?
Did I answer, did I ask enough?
Okay, so I make a motion to adopt 25-91B. I'll start it off.
I'll
100%.
second that one.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion from the council? Any discussion from the public? Any discussion online or questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
You guys can have that the next year.
I'll make the motion that we approve resolution 2599. Do you need any more?
No, I think because each one of them would be separate, right, Michelle?
Yes.
Is there a second on,
I'll second that.
there's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
He's staring at you.
Any, no, I'm just waiting. Okay, no other discussion from the council, any from the public? Present, anyone online?
No.
Roll call.
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
I'll move resolution 25-100 to direct staff to amend the city fee schedule for workforce housing fees to be offset up to 100% for wastewater capital improvements with grant funds, subject to legal noticing, establishing a nexus and a public hearing.
There a second?
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. Any other discussion? Any discussion from the public? Anyone online?
No.
Hearing none, roll call.
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Amy, I want to thank you and Dave for taking us through that.
And Steve, he helped us on that too.
Who did?
Steve.
And Steve. Steve, and thanks for your questions. Very appreciate that. I think this is a complicated issue, but I think we have a clearer understanding of what workforce housing is and what level of responsibility we have in helping to make this happen. So thank you for everyone involved. Okay. Moving on to item C, resolution 25-10. Thank you, Dave. Are you really a Packers fan or you just like that jacket? Thank you, Morgan.
Bye. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
The best.
You too. I'm just teasing. Hi guys.
Bye.
He doubled down on that,
Yeah.
Mike.
He did, he's got it, yeah. Okay, so resolution 25-102, reimbursement of $714 appeal fee for the October 9th, 2025 Planning Commission decision approving.
Merry Christmas, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. 25-15, finding of architectural conformity and conditional use permit for pastoral offices and community education center. Amy.
Mr. Mayor and council members, you have many choices. I've narrowed it down to 3, but basically this is the 3rd time we've been asked to have an appeal reimbursed. You may either reimburse the full $714 to the appellant, you may look for an alternative fee amount to reimburse to the appellant, or you may deny it. in the past, for the two you've done previously, one you approved and one you denied getting the reimbursement. Both were upheld by the city council in favor of the appellant. But one you did approve the reimbursement and one you did not. That's pretty much all I have, other than the actual cost of doing this was a little over $5,000, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
That's what I'm asking.
How quiet we are. Let's talk about that other item first. Alvin, any questions?
I moved down, I asked enough, I got something, go ahead.
Kara, any questions?
No, not yet.
Who is the app, or who is asking for this?
The appellant,
No,
Douglas, Ms.
Oh,
Douglas.
Julie.
Okay, gotcha.
What were the two previous ones that we had done? Was
It
that
was Middleton's Pool
yeah,
and 195 Rocky Ridge. It was a shed that was in a setback.
yeah, okay.
So when they applied, it's for the application, or is that right? Is that what we're calling it? Okay. They obviously were not aware of the federal case law, federal law protection, nor were we, I guess, until legal came in and told us, correct? You were not?
I was aware of it.
You were aware,
Our
okay.
planning commission was aware of it, but
Okay.
they were not aware of the planning commission meeting.
Oh, so they weren't in attendance at the planning commission?
No,
Oh, okay.
they did not receive notice from their landlords. That was an
Okay.
issue that
Oh,
we're
yeah,
trying
that's
to
right.
address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It all came down to, yeah.
And they could have asked for a fee waiver when they applied for the appeal, correct?
Yes.
Or
We did let them know that you can apply for a waiver
A waiver.
of the fee, but it's a timing issue.
Okay.
And their building owner doesn't want to reimburse them since they didn't give them the notice?
What?
I said their building owner doesn't want to reimburse them since they didn't give them proper notice?
The building owners didn't pass that on along, I guess.
Even had the building owners passed that along, I don't know that it would have made a difference if you'd had everybody at the planning commission meeting speaking against it because of the federal law, is that correct?
Right, but they wouldn't have appealed. They would have just basically heard it when they went to the planning meeting. They would have heard the law against that, and then they wouldn't have appealed it.
So I
would
need to
think.
clarify, the planning commission did not find that it was relevant that there was a federal law because they approved it.
Right.
And they, even knowing what the planning commission knew was that they could not make a finding to deny it, so that's why they approved it, regardless of that federal law, regardless of case law about making determinations based upon economics. They looked at the findings required for a conditional use permit, and they were able to make them. That's why they approved the project.
You know, I don't know how I feel, except that this is a real slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not being consistent. We pay one person back, we don't pay the other person back. And now we're being asked,
Well, just like everything else, though, it's a case-by-case basis.
well, I know, but I
I've
mean,
sat through both of those, so.
yeah, but still, case by case, I mean, you're establishing.
But that's why we have that you can appeal, like, or you
No,
can.
I'm not talking about the appeal, I'm talking about getting your money
But
back.
that's even why we allow this to come to council, you're allowed to ask.
So why do we charge then? I mean, is it gonna create more appeals? I mean, I would like us to be more consistent. And I wasn't there, and I'm not gonna throw stones at those folks who made those decisions, but you know, I don't know why the shed was denied and the other one was approved. Or was there some mitigating circumstance with the shed? I don't wanna know. I'm just thinking out loud. I mean, I just think that this is a slippery slope. I get it.
Right, it's like suing somebody and then, not saying they were, but like then asking for attorney fees back because it didn't go.
I'm wondering why, if this was such a clear-cut issue, why we had to spend $5,000 researching. That's a problem I have. We spent $5,000 researching an issue that was cut and dry.
Because it still has to come to us, and they have to present all the information.
They had to make, yeah.
They have to make the case.
But the
to us.
thing is, though, is it had, again, had the landlord given the information, and all this was already set into motion, they went, whether that's your reasonings for accepting or not, all this would have been done deal, and we may not have even went this far with all of this, right? Like, they wouldn't have been appealed, it wouldn't have been out there, we wouldn't have to have it
It sounds like
investigated.
the
we
planning
wouldn't have had
commission, it wasn't an issue, that the appeal probably would have gone through still.
Right, because they would have, the planning commission passed it no matter what. They didn't even need that.
They did not. In answer to your question about the cost, generally when you have an appeal, you are anticipating a litigation of some form. So you usually check with your city attorney. So it will always add to the cost of an appeal. Otherwise, it flat out takes that much time to write a staff report and hard costs. You have to do legal notices. So some of that's just flat out hard costs. A little bit more than half was the legal costs. Sometimes it takes them 2 seconds, and sometimes they do more in depth.
If that's the case, I'd just as soon leave the 714 stand, and maybe we charge a little bit more to do an appeal because the costs involved in this. So
I don't know who is asking for the reimbursement, but could those dollars be used in that fund that we created for the grant fund? I think we set aside $25,000. I mean, could we just transfer that $714 and put it to a use if they, you're looking at me, Steve.
I'm trying to remember the 25,000 grant.
It's the one for the banners.
It's the economic, like, community funds for the banners, for nonprofits.
I really think that is a slippery slope.
Okay.
I think it needs to go to offset the work that was done.
So either we're gonna reimburse it, or we're gonna say no, we're gonna deny it. Okay. Any comments from the public before we bring it back?
Okay, as far as this particular case, so no business owner heard about this until Thursday afternoon. Had we known about it beforehand, we would have probably gone, I mean, for sure, some of us would have gone to the planning. The fact of that, and we've talked to Amy about this, the fact that the building owners get notified, but not the business owners, these are two totally different people. Half the people who own the businesses don't even live in the city. So that's a problem. And so instead of spending $3,500 on the lawyer who literally sat there and told us within the first 5 minutes that we were even at the city council that we didn't even have a chance, that could have all been eliminated had we had any information in the first place. So the fact that we actually heard it from a second party, somebody on Bird's Way got a letter that said something to Susan, so it filtered into us business owners, but nobody downtown got notice. And I own a building 500 feet, but apparently you only get notified 300 feet. But if I want to open a liquor license, I have to get notified 600 feet. So maybe you either extend the amount of business owners that get informed. 300 feet is not that far. So either extend the notice to the business owners in downtown, or actually extend it to the owners of the business, because those are completely two different entities. And so I think all of this could have been alleviated. And honestly, had the lawyer just read the rule, I can't imagine that he spent $3,500 or she or whatever. I mean, to me, that's a complete waste of time. I understand that there's costs in putting it on this on the meeting agenda and all of that stuff, but $3,500, if he read the letter the way that he proposed it and told us, we knew, sitting here with all of us here and all these people, we knew in 5 minutes we were dead. So
I heard what you said.
I'm very confused that you spent $3,500 on a lawyer not recognizing that in the first place. So the fact that we put out the $714 is fine, but had we have been notified in the beginning, we would have never had to appeal.
But I think, and Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that was even a consideration from the planning commission. So even if you would have been noticed and went, I don't think the planning was going to agree to it based on
The conditional use.
the conditional use permit.
Right, so we would have come to
But
the
it would never-
building, we would have come to the planning commission, and we would have recognized that we didn't have any ground to stand on.
No, but I don't think,
research that then.
I don't think they did, I don't think the religious thing was researched then.
Right.
So you
The
still
lawyer
would
reckoned that on
have
the
appealed it.
appeal when it
You
came
still
down.
would have
I
appealed
think.
it.
Yeah, the religious aspect did not come up at the planning.
The one that came-
Correct.
I don't know that it was so much of a religious thing. I think for us, it was more of a
No, no.
not
No,
creating
the
any.
federal law, yeah, the federal law, protection, sorry.
Since I knew I don't know this area.
I do want to
Is the
address,
city?
Yeah, wait, let's let, and then we'll.
well, I do want to address council members Scott's comments. I have a business, or my landlord, when he gets stuff, notifies me. I like Gretel. I'm just down the street. To say, oh, the landlord, we know that there's many of these people that own a building. They own a building. They don't check into what's going on. They don't, I mean, some of our tenants in town talk about their buildings. So to say, put it on the landlord, I mean, that would be something I think you guys would have to look at of how you make that better, because, you know, luckily I do have a landlord. But myself and Gretel, we're outside of that. If we got it, would we have been at planning? Yes, we would have, and that would have given us the opportunity to have that conversation. We didn't get to have that conversation. And yeah, Carolyn heard me. As soon as he spoke,
You were like, this
I
is a
said,
waste
this is
of
a waste of our
time.
time.
Yeah.
Because if that had really been researched, it would have killed a lot of time. So I don't think it's fair to say, oh, the landlord, because there are some active ones, but there's a lot of inactive ones, and it's very clear downtown.
Well, that was actually what I was just about to ask, because I am new to city council, like, who notified, how does that work with businesses? Like, for us, we own a business too, our landlord, things happen, so I was just asking.
Can I-
So is that how, like, the city then?
Amy,
So the tradition, except in a very few jurisdictions, is to use the tax rolls. So you know who to notify, and it's usually 300 feet. And they receive a written notice, so it's usually owners, because tenants can change even more frequently than owners. This is an agenda item that we will likely be bringing to you to provide some alternatives for doing notification that would do a better job of notifying the tenants to help solve this problem.
And maybe add in an expansion on how many feet.
Right, because it makes sense, but.
Does it make sense because
Can
it's
you?
downtown?
but can you?
You can.
Just in that, can we be specific on downtown area? Is it, and I know that's not on the, this is not the agenda for that.
Yeah,
Right.
and we would look into that, and we could always agendize that.
Is there an attorney at the planning commission meetings?
No,
So what will likely happen if people were there, the objections would have been voiced, the planning commission would have made a decision, and the attorneys wouldn't have got involved unless there was an appeal.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
so to me, the way I look at this is you had to appeal to find out you didn't have a chance. And so I think
But I guess the question is, and I'm flip-flopping here. I guess the question is, had they known that, they wouldn't have appealed it.
but there's no way.
But that-
Until you flop your money down, that started the wheels turning.
I know there's no way to do it, but is it different than an appeal where I'm gonna argue that a setback for my shed? That's a little bit more black and white, I would think. Or am I gonna put a fence around my swimming pool? Or am I going to, I mean, I from a planning council's perspective, I get, it probably isn't. But because there isn't any mitigating legal, I would assume, opinion regarding some of those. Go ahead, Amy.
So the findings will always be the same for a conditional use permit, regardless of whether it's a swimming pool or a shed or a school downtown. They're always the same, and you can either make them in your opinion or not make them in your opinion. They do not include economic development as one of the findings, except that it does talk about consistent with, it doesn't adversely affect the community character, well-being of the community. And, that is subject to some interpretation, and I imagine the interpretation by the commission would have been somewhat different had they have heard from a large contingent of people downtown. But again, same findings always for every condition.
Well, and then the reverse would have been true. My sense is that the school would have appealed and we would have heard the schools,
Yes.
but, so could you amend the city ordinances now and the guidelines that, the code section to allow schools, private, so that we don't have to deal with this again? Since we now know that it is legal?
So again, we may want to keep that for future discussion and talk about the reimbursement tonight.
Okay.
But in terms of amending the code for making the historic district allow that as a permitted use, I think this appeal process has perhaps indicated that we would not want to do that and make it a permitted use. We would still want to have the benefit of having public input on a school.
No, okay, conditional, but listed as one of, okay, all right, okay.
So,
I'm gonna go round and round here. Okay, Alvin.
I have one thing to say real quick, then I'll make a quick motion.
Have we closed the public portion of this?
I don't, what's
I think
not a
we did.
hearing, no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, any other public comment?
Okay.
Anybody online? Okay.
How do I say this? I would like somebody from ACPA or maybe an organization that seems to be starting to form for a downtown business thing. I think, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, but would be wonderful if somebody would look over those meeting agendas, and if there's, hey, this could involve us, I think that's a wonderful thing of some sort of a group to look at. And I'm not trying to pass the buck or anything to that nature.
Just make sure.
But I think that's where something could get missed. And I understand 50% are owners, 50% are not down there, and they go to different places. So there's got to be some responsibility on the backs of everybody else too. And I'm not trying to pass the buck or sound nasty either. So I'm going to go to make a motion to resolution 25102 with no fee reimbursement.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? Any discussion from,
No, nothing.
roll call?
Behill,
I'm trying to make sure, what does it, your name mean here?
I did a no fee reimbursement.
His motion was for number 3.
Help me out here. So number 3
Right
is,
Deny resolution 2502.
all right, so I'm in favor of that. So aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
No.
Scott,
No.
Brolio.
Aye.
Motion passes on a 3-2 vote. Okay, moving on to item D.
No, that's hard.
Resolution 25-103, authorizing the purchase of APN number 062-004-043, a portion of the Vallecito Road parking lot along Angels Creek, and authorizing the city administrator to open escrow, provide a deposit, prepare, sign, authorize, and have recorded relevant purchase agreements, documents, deeds, and certificates. Steve.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and council members. The city has been in negotiations with a property owner across the street, in the parking lot across the street from the fire department on Vallecito for a parcel that would be of benefit for the city to own. These negotiations have been going on in excess of 6 months. The city and the property owner have finally reached a verbal agreement for the city to purchase that particular property in the amount of $31,770. Attorneys are preparing the sales agreement. The property owner again, has verbally agreed to that purchase price for that property. The city acquiring this property will benefit in multiple ways. We have a sewer line project that goes very close to that property line. It doesn't extend into the property that we're gonna buy, but it's very close to it, and it would be of a benefit for that Vallecito sewer project that we're currently engaged in, to be able to have that extra property to store equipment, to be able to walk freely on because the city now owns it. But again, that sewer line is not within the boundaries of the property that we're gonna purchase. But that is benefit number one. Benefit number two is the Angels Creek Trail project, which has been years in the making, and we're getting closer and closer each day that goes by. I'm very much looking forward to that. We will need to acquire that property, this property that we want to purchase, in order to continue with the design that has already preliminarily been built. It goes right through that property. So staff recommends that the council approve the purchase of that property, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions from council? Any questions from the public? Hi, public. Any questions online?
No questions online.
Is there a motion?
I'll move that we approve the purchase.
I'll second.
It's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any discussion from public? Anybody online? Roll call.
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Gemente,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Moving on to item E, Resolution 25-104, authorizing the County of Calaveras to install a ballot drop box on city property, 200 Monteverdi. Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. In approximately the beginning to the middle of November, staff was contacted by the county clerk, recorder, and registrar of voters from the County of Calaveras, indicating that in multiple locations around the county has installed election boxes that are clearly marked that this is where you drop your ballot, and then county staff will come and collect those. County staff indicated that the city of Angels has one currently, and it's at Save Mart.
It's terribly,
And it's
terrible.
terribly located.
Terrible.
It's difficult to access. It's not easily visible to the public, and it's not well-known. So the county has asked the staff, is there another place, either in replacement of or in addition to the existing box, can we place another box somewhere? So we looked around at different properties that the city owned. We looked downtown at the post office. Maybe we install it on the sidewalk in front of the post office. We looked at the firehouse here. Everyone knows where the firehouse is. Maybe we install it here. And then we thought, much of the community is already accustomed to driving through towards the police department before you get to City Hall. There is a utility drop box where people come fairly frequently to come and drop their utility box in there. And we thought, since people are already accustomed to this drive-through location, maybe we put the box not right next to it, but near that, but far enough so that they won't be confused. This election box will be clearly marked as an election box, not a utility box. And we thought it was a reasonable request from the county to give our community an additional location to drop their ballot. So staff is requesting approval of the county's request to install this box on our property near the utility drop box that already exists.
Questions or comments?
This is a dumb one, but I know we don't own it, but Bret Hart is where I always know of as far as a ballot location. And I didn't know until Save Mart, until I called Becky and asked her, I'm like, is there really one at Save Mart? Because I'd never heard of one before. But Bret Hart is always where I always think of as election thing. But it's only open during the day of. Could it possibly be I just think that's like central, right in the center of the area. And could we not do it there?
And I think one time we also dropped it, if I remember, there was that office behind Mark Twain Elementary. The
district office. I think that's only the day of.
Okay.
It is.
I think that's
only
only
the day of too, but
Right.
Bret Hart is just so visible.
Those places are
It's,
it's
not off any beaten path. It's, again, I know it's.
The one at Save Mart was they had carts in front of it the day of the election. We had a really hard time finding it, and no one that worked there knew where it was. And so I agree that it needs a rectification, but I'm wondering too, like at the PD, will it have like some sort of camera on it so that there's no like tampering of, or I don't know. I mean, I just want to.
I like it at PD because of security.
The security reasons, I like the PD,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the only piece that I think about is that it's a little more secure there. But
Martha doesn't have that.
I have no idea.
So are those pulled after the election? Are they there? I mean, or is that a permanent box, Steve?
Permanent box.
The box that they're proposing would be a permanent box.
Okay, okay. So the one at Save Mart, did they pull? Is it there?
It's there.
It's funny, parents have no problems finding it. Again, didn't even know it was there, but we had a meeting that day.
Yeah.
And so
I sent
take ballots in.
I sent the 18-year-old who could not find it, and no one there could tell him where it was
Yeah, all I
at.
know is what did you find it? Well, yeah, but we had no clue.
He finally found
So
it.
you want us to try to choose pick between these locations, or what are we doing?
I think we're just
Just
approving this
approving.
location.
Just approve 200 more.
Those are other
Police
locations
department.
in the county.
My
Those are just
impression of
pictures.
what the county was looking for is like a drive-through ballot drop box. Which might be possible at Bret Hart. It may be we propose to them in addition to, because we can't authorize something to go on Bret Hart.
Right.
Maybe in addition to our property, they reach out to the school and put a permanent box there for walk-up drop-ins. But I think my impression is that they were looking for more like a drive-through, drop it off and drive away, which can be accommodated at the police department location. There are cameras around the police department as well as around City Hall. I don't know for sure if the cameras cover that area where the utility box is. I believe it does, but I'd have to confirm that.
Yeah.
Can you have two and put one at the firehouse also?
I don't know what their cost is, but I can certainly propose that if you would like to approve it in advance for both locations and let them choose if they want it at both locations. I have not spoken with the fire chief about putting a box. I did speak with the police chief and City Hall staff about putting it near the police department, but I haven't spoken with the fire chief about the firehouse.
Any other questions from the council? Hearing none. Any from the public? The two that are left?
Nobody
Anyone
online?
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second. There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Do I approve the second one?
Sure, I'll make the motion that we approve Resolution 2504 with the addition of the Angels Camp Fire Station as a secondary, if they want it.
If they're on.
I'll second that.
I have to amend it.
Oh.
That's fine. There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Any from the public? Anyone online, Michelle?
No.
Roll call.
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shabente,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Okay, last item, action item F, Resolution 25-105, approving an agreement with Municipal Resource Group LLC for a role and workload assessment for the Administrative Service Officer position in an amount not to exceed $9,880. Steve?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. My last item on the agenda is consideration of this resolution. The Administrative Services Officer, we have one. That position, there's only one in the whole city, and that single position is responsible for city clerk duties, payroll duties, human resources, an IT liaison, several responsibilities are all wrapped up into this one position. And so I was directed to look into, is that appropriate for that number of duties to be rolled up into one position, or is it more appropriate to hire two people to do that job or contract out some of those services? And I don't have the expertise to be able to on my own. I mean, I can make a recommendation, but it would be just based on my own experience. There are companies that come in and provide workplace analysis, and they can be for all of the positions in the city. It can be for just one position in the city. And what they do is they compare, they have the experience with other municipal agencies to make a recommendation to continue as we have with one position, break it up into part-time positions, have multiple full-time positions, or some hybrid of contracting out and retaining internal services. So I reached out to 2 different companies. One is MRG and one is RSG. MRG is Municipal Resource Group and RSG is Regional Government Services. Both firms offer similar services. Both had advantage, so each of them provided me a quote. I received one quote, I believe in late October, and then one quote in about the middle of November. So I evaluated them, and they're offering similar services, and there are some advantages to one over the other. But staff is recommending MRG because of a couple reasons. It is the less expensive of the 2 options. It is more limited in scope to just this one position as opposed to a citywide assessment, which in my opinion is not necessary. We need recommendations on this one position because we don't have multiple positions in the city that have these like a bunch of different duties all assigned to one. The timeline and impact, the MRG proposal is a shorter timeline to get it done and give us a recommendation. I already mentioned the cost difference, the scope alignment, the timeline. MRG but in their proposal, they have given us a timeline that would allow us to make appropriate adjustments if they're necessary in time for the next budget year. So the other company is going to have a more extended timeline. If we were to make adjustments, they likely would not be prepared to make a recommendation to us before we have to prepare the budget for the next year. And I just believe that this is a very important position in the city that needs some clarification as to whether the duties assigned are appropriate. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions from council?
I have a question.
Okay.
In practical terms, I like to define the problem. We've been going as a city for 100 years, how long, and now this is coming up, we want to spend $10,000 on someone to say, what's happening practical in real life that's brought this to a head?
Yeah, I believe at some point before I got here, that position itself was either reclassified, something was done to it where at one point it was a department head position, and I think it got reclassified to a manager position, maybe with the creation of the finance director, but it was kind of an exchange. It existed as it existed now, and then it was reclassified to something lower so that another director position could be established, but none of the duties.
Could that have happened about 10 years ago? Mary Kelly used to be the city clerk, city treasurer, city everything. When Michael McCatton came in, and Mary was a high salary, I probably shouldn't use the names. Oh, sorry. But it was a high salary, 6-figure position. Then we brought in the city administrator, and there was a lot of redundancies. And then when there was something we did to get rid of one of those positions. I think when the city administrator left, our city clerk was elevated to that spot to city administrator and not replaced.
I think you may be.
That could have been the timing.
I think you could be correct, because if I remember right, I'm trying to step back with you. Susan Wagner, I think, was clerk and HR and all of that, and I think she was there
when Mary got promoted.
I'm trying to
that
think.
might have
Was
been,
that an elected position at one point too?
It was.
The clerk?
It was
elected.
And
It was
then we
elected.
voted, yeah, and treasurer, and we voted, I think, to not have that anymore.
right, because there was always just one person on the ballot.
Right.
It was always one person. There was, yeah, so it was, yeah.
So you had a city clerk doing a bunch of different jobs, but was that a problem? I mean, you listed a lot of jobs, but how many hours is that a problem?
I think for some of us, the HR piece is the sticky piece, because that takes a very specific skill set and educational background in the current culture right now in which we operate. And if you don't have that background, that you put the city in a liable position. And so the clerking and all that other stuff is fine. My concern was the HR piece, so.
And in my businesses, the HR piece was handled by my insurance companies. I could always call
Correct,
somebody
so
and
that's
say, what
why,
do I
that's
do?
one of the pieces that I think
HR.
could probably get taken out and consulted,
Maybe.
or handled by
So if we need to spend $10,000 to hire somebody to tell us you should call somebody for HR,
I don't think that's the only issue.
or
Yeah, for me, in my limited time here, if that person that fills that position is not available because of illness or vacation or whatever the reason, and all of those duties are wrapped up into that one position without some level of redundancy, and if that were to be on an extended time period, the city is at a disadvantage. The city needs to determine who's going to do those duties. So before we move forward with continuing with that process, an outside set of eyes that has the experience of what a workload balance, an appropriate workload balance is, would be beneficial. Do we need to spend $10,000? We absolutely do not. I can just make a decision and restructure the organization and be done. But it's based on my knowledge and my input from staff. This is a professional organization that would do that. So I won't say I'm happy, but I'm happy to make that assessment myself and make those changes myself. But I think the city would be better suited for professionals to do that instead of me as an individual.
yeah, to me, this is spending more money on a study that's going to require us to spend more money on another, probably hire another employee and build staff and build bureaucracy when I'm not necessarily convinced that, I don't know, maybe reading the study would convince me. I don't know.
Well, the only thing I'd say that it may show that we don't need a full-time position at clerk. That's where I'm maybe heading is, hey, you already have legals that they're your HR and you hire out somebody to do, I don't know. It may show different things. I have no idea.
The argument is if the ASO is out of commission for a while, we're at a disadvantage. We're a small organization. There's got to be cross-training. There's got to be, would it address that? Would it address how to cross-train and how to create the redundancies?
I believe redundancies was in their proposal.
And I'm speaking out loud while he's looking something up. And for me, also getting this office set up right for the next city administrator that's coming in is kind of key to me too. Or at least the best I can make it in my head. I'm trying to roll through things in my head too. And if this...
And the new administrator comes and says, well, that's not how we did things where I'm from, so we're going to do this or this.
Then that's our job. I don't know. Yeah, no, that's a hell of a point
Maybe
too.
that is something we should just wait on
That
until-
is wait, hold on that position until we
Until
put
you get
someone
them-
in place and they
yeah.
make that decision.
'Cause
You're all like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that sounds great.
So I need to be mindful of the report that I'm giving right now. So I'm just going to read directly from the scope of work. The scope of work is to conduct a full review of the administrative services officer classification, essential functions, and assigned duties. Evaluate workload distribution. Conduct interviews with approximately 12 employees who interact directly with the administrative services officer. Document existing processes and assignments performed by the administrative service officer. 2 more. Identify duties that may exceed reasonable expectations for a single position or conflict with other roles or separation of duty requirements. And the last one is develop written recommendations on how to correctly create, organize, and maintain employee personnel, medical, workers' compensation, and investigative files. So if the preference is to wait for the next city manager to get here, city administrator, hopefully sometime around April, that would certainly be acceptable. But the staff's recommendation is to engage in this work now.
Because I don't have a clear definition of the problem, I'm not gonna support this, I believe.
I'm struggling too, but I'm kind of with Steve on that, is it, or Scott, sorry, not Steve, Scott.
Could be either one.
Is it is hard when we have someone that we're trying, I mean, I get their point of view as well, but at the same time, we're gonna be having someone new coming in here. That's a hard thing.
Do we have an ASO right now?
The position is filled right now.
I mean, I get what it's doing. It's going to go through and tell us what it needs. It's going to go through and tell us you're missing this.
Yet another study.
I know. I'm not disputing that, but it's going to tell you what you need.
I might be fine with putting it off until we hire a city administrator who wants to come in and like take a look at it, and maybe you can write up your stuff to have a good transfer of information on your observations as well.
And I really think that you and our current department heads, our current staff, are probably pretty well positioned to figure out what works and what doesn't work, at least in the short term. And you have those discussions, and that might create a better environment. A culture of trust. If you're opening up and having these discussions, these frank discussions about, hey, how can we do things better and make things, more equitable.
Well, I was gonna say, in the meantime, is there some way, because with a position being open right now and you're doing double duty with being clerk as well right now, can we get some temporary person that does clerking that could help in the interim?
I know Will was
was
talking.
supposed to look into that. Or, I mean, I don't know if we can borrow someone from the county, or if there's any other people around that do that we could have like an interim clerk until we get this figured out. I mean, that's one of the pieces that I feel like would be the easiest to cover until this gets good.
So I don't recall Susan or Rose or anybody complaining about being overworked. Were they? I don't know.
I would.
And the only, I'm going to play I'm not going either way per se, but I'm going to play the flip side of what you were just talking about, Scott, is that you were saying that that staff couldn't handle. Well, staff's asking us to do this. That was what I'm getting to, right? So that's what I'm getting, is they're asking us to do this study so we know what to put in place. So that they're giving us a recommendation of, hey, they want this study. And I'm just throwing out the flip side in my opinion of that too. They're telling us what they want, and we may go against what they're asking for $10,000. So that's all.
You put it that way.
What's that?
You put it that way, it sounds pretty bad.
Well, I'm just playing the flip side of the coin on it. So
I get it.
I do think this is a good idea, whether it's done now or with the new city administrator. This was direction that was given.
It was.
Yes, it's done.
Yeah.
It was.
And prepare these proposals, make a recommendation on how to move forward before the new city manager is identified.
So that this was already ready for that person to walk in, and they'd have that to begin hiring, I guess, and figure out their staffing. Okay.
Any
But,
comments?
I'm sorry, at the time that direction was given, it was a complete unknown, I think, to all of us, what that cost would be. So now we know the cost, and if the cost is too much, or you want to wait, there's no urgency to get this done right now, other than it was direction that staff was given to prepare a proposal for the council.
I don't recall doing that.
Any comments from the audience? Okay. Is that too much comment?
I just have a comment about the studies that get done, because I was part of the strategic plan twice, which was $65,000+, and then Now you guys have allocated $30,000 or $40,000 for headhunters to go find the city administrator. Now another $10,000 to figure this out. Every city administrator that I have participated with comes in and cleans house and does it their way and has this whole idea. So I kind of think that this $10,000 is a really extreme unnecessary at this point in time until you guys figure out what your $40,000 is going to give at the headhunter. And then it's probably time to do the strategic plan. That's probably going to be another $70,000 or $80,000, which I don't even know what gets actually implemented in that, because the second one that I was a part of didn't really get anything implemented in. So I'm not a big studier of studies or a big fan of studies. I think you get a lot more asking staff and participating in the office yourself. That would be my comment. I'm at the restaurant every day. I know exactly what needs to get done and exactly what doesn't get done. And that's hands-on. And that makes a difference.
You want us to be hands-on?
I'm just saying, if you think something is not right, sometimes going into the office and actually paying attention or whatever, then you see things for yourself. Whether it's picking up garbage, which I walk around the place and I pick up garbage all the time. Just that, like that's just like an example.
Yeah.
But sometimes you see things or you hear things from the public, or, you know, like,
Maybe they could do,
I don't know.
I personally, I feel like this is a waste of money, but I mean, maybe, I don't mean not to be harsh. I mean, I'm not saying this against the employees either. Maybe there's something to be said about writing the list of duties that gets done at the city office and what they think their job details look like, or I feel like they know their job, what they think their job should be or what their job is more than somebody coming in. Not discrediting those companies either. I'm just saying, I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of a waste, especially when we do have somebody that's going to be brought in. I get what is being said too. I'm not dismissing that, but they want it being, they'd like it before the new city administrator comes in. I don't know, I feel like
Because of that, because, so I have been here as long. I don't recall any city administrator coming in and cleaning any house. I don't know that.
They just organize it their own way. I don't
Right.
necessarily need to get
Yeah,
I remember
nobody-
them bringing in more staff.
I think they brought in more staff.
Yeah, new
I feel like
new
there's,
programs and new
things get
computers.
lumped onto people because they're there.
Right.
And because they say, I can just go ahead and handle that. So then all of a sudden, you've got the city clerk handling all the IT communications. Is that really the
there
right?
should be a breakdown of
Yeah.
from them of
Yeah.
what they think their
Right.
job description
Yeah.
is, and then looking at what's missing in that job description. I just know someone, especially with, we just did that whole thing with the county. That's such a big waste of money that we just spent for them to come in and tell us what our job should and shouldn't be. I just feel like they are the better voice. Like, what does Michelle think her job description is? What does the clerk think it is? And then going, okay, what's missing in this? What does they feel like they shouldn't be doing
Right.
that is on their plate?
And even though it's in their job description, some of those folks aren't doing the
Right.
items on their job description. They aren't getting to them. And so then they are falling to the wayside.
Right.
And things like HR, which needs to be handled very properly because that's our most vulnerable area for litigation.
100%.
And so for me, the way that the office has been put together, I think wasn't strategically thought through. I think it was just like, I'll take that, I can do that, let's do this. And so I can go either way on this. I'm good with cleaning it up, and if we can actually maybe not have as many positions, or some of them, maybe something is taken part-time, or you take that one position and put it into 2 part-time, or something like that. I don't know, because I am not gonna go in the office every day. That is not appropriate actually for me to be in there. It's more appropriate for us to hear from the department heads to come through that way. It's so there's a way of handling that.
Well, that is
too.
something like part of the Evergreen study even started out with,
What?
Evergreen had started out with was the fact of each of us put what we felt our job was, what we didn't feel was our job. And that was something like maybe the staff should start there.
Well, like a survey, like a
Right, like what does
questionnaire.
Michelle feel her job is? What does she feel that she shouldn't be doing? Start with the staff first and then kind of go from there versus just having someone come in, I mean.
So
I can agree with where you're going.
Yeah, but I was just saying that takes staff time.
There you
That
go.
takes-
So that's what
and
I'm
that's still
saying.
going to cost you money because they're not working on whatever it is that.
But it's still firsthand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is firsthand.
To me, we hire attorneys, we hire accountants, we hire people that when we need help and we can't figure it out ourselves. And I can't for the life of me recall us sending this direction to you. But maybe it was during the turmoil when we were in, we had a lot going on and trying to figure things out. But
It was the desk audit.
And we
that's what it was called or something of that nature.
asked for a desk audit of every position. Because
We talked about having a separation maybe between HR.
Yeah.
This is for the administrative services officer position.
And, it's one of the things even Michelle, you did, bringing in Taylor. I've been thinking a lot. I mean, it takes, are we providing enough support? I mean, and Taylor has become probably the face of the public because she's sitting right there when the public's coming in. And I would like us to really, we need to empower staff. I hear everybody say we need, and ask them what they're doing. Well, I think that's the case, but we also need to understand that how much can you push a staff without giving them the necessary tools they need to do their jobs. And right now, we're torn, and I think we're looking for the right direction to go. Is it an HR person and a city clerk? Is it an administrative assistant? And I'm not sure a new person coming in is going to have any history. They're going to have what they think they want without understanding what has been going on too. So, and I'm not saying that the survey and spending $10,000 is going to answer any of that, but
that's my point. I don't think.
But I don't. And maybe it's really us meeting with staff and doing a study session and coming up. Because I disagree with the idea that we can farm out HR. HR is the most volatile and litigious component of running a city. And to think that, well, I'm going to call or my insurance company is going to cover it. RMA right now is saying if you don't do X, Y, and Z, we're not going to file that claim, and that's real clear. So I think. We're always so afraid to spend $1 on the right person in order for that person to get their job done. And, I don't want to, on my watch, sit here and not make sure that the city's protected and our employees are protected because we're not following through with HR policies.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't really care how we continue or what we do, but I mean, it's critical that we make sure that we have the right people in the right positions and we evaluate them to make sure they're doing their jobs. And Michelle, we appreciate everything that you're doing right now. And your staff.
100%.
And your staff. It's not been easy.
And that's not me. Please don't take it as I'm dismissing them either. I just do feel like they're their best voice.
Right.
And I'd rather hear, not that I want to get involved in that part of it, but I would rather have them write everything up first and maybe go, like I said, go from there, or have us kind of like.
The city council, we're here, we have limited terms.
Right.
Staff is here, and they're outlast us all.
Right.
Usually. So we are not, we have our in our private lives, we have our expertise, we have our knowledge, but it's not running the city.
Right.
No, but I feel like.
And so for us to direct staff to say, you need to get these reports to show you how to run the city.
Oh, right.
I'm having a really hard time with that. I think staff needs to, I think we're understaffed right now, and that's causing a lot of problem and a lot of angst.
But what is that staff's positioning you
Looks
need?
like.
I know, but that's why I'm saying if they wrote out, that's why I was saying if specifically they wrote out, what is jobs is Taylor doing? What job is Michelle doing? And what jobs do they feel like they should not, like doesn't kind of fall
Has
into
staff done those exercises?
I have since I started. I did it with Rebecca, and we went and looked at my staff and my position since it was new. But I think I can give you a little history on this position. My understanding from what I've learned being there for three and a half years has been that a lot of times during times when we were poor, we were broke, things fell onto this position because this individual would say, I can do this. And I know there has been a lot of question about HR, because when Rebecca was here, Rebecca did a lot more HR, and she left, and more of it fell onto this position. So this position has absorbed more duties. And I think it would be good, whether you hire a firm or you do it in-house, look at all that's been assigned versus, the job description, and really think about, was this something that just this person took on and it became part of the job? Because that was part of the confusion when it became vacant, was who's gonna do this? And Steve has been a tremendous help to me in every day. He's always checking in, what can I do, and we've been sharing a lot of the HR duties, but the city administrator, when Rebecca was here, did do a lot more. And she would even say, she does the higher level, it was more so this role took on the clerical part of HR, filing the paperwork, making sure the employees get enrolled online, but they would handle the hierarchy of the HR. So.
See, I feel like that, I don't even know if I feel like that should be on the city administrator as the HR piece.
Oh, and that's where you
part
need
of
to go
it.
through.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
And just determine
You want me to throw the
the
gauntlet
method
down?
of how you want to do that.
Or we just table it.
The city's like a small business, and most small businesses, if not all small businesses, cannot afford an HR specialist.
Right.
And so Mike, I'll push back on your comment about not reaching out. I think with the city attorneys and with our insurance companies or RMA, I think you do reach out for help in certain situations. We have to have a manual that says this is our HR manual, we go by this, but then when issues come up, we have to call an expert. And we don't have the expert on staff.
But is HR something we could also share with a neighboring city instead of?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because HR is special. I mean, it's definitely not.
It is, and that's why they're
And it
with your
changes every
attorneys and your insurance company, those guys, they have those, and that's.
The attorneys are so much more expensive than an HR.
Insurance companies are free, well, their premiums are high, but they're a free phone call, and you can get a lot of information from them.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25105.
Throwing down the gauntlet.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it. We've discussed.
I think I'm gonna kick you.
Is there a second?
No.
Dies for a lack of a second.
There you go.
Okay. Let's move on.
You just wanted to have it.
Information items.
Do we want to table it, or would you want it to come back?
I think, and then I think we need to probably wait for I think what I'm hearing is we wait for the new city.
I'll make a motion that we table this until staff has a chance to get together and try to figure it out themselves, which you said you're happy, not happy, but happy to do. And really help define the problem, and
Yes.
bring it back to us in 2 months or something.
Yeah, like a desk audit.
That'd be my motion, is to table this for 2 months.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
I feel like Steve has a discussion.
Any discussion from the public? Any discussion from anyone online? Call for the vote.
Just, sorry,
Yes, Steve?
to clarify the motion. Table this particular item for 2 months, or come back with something different than an external?
Oh,
If you, table this for 2 months, and we'll bring it back in 2 months if you haven't figured out a better solution.
Okay, got it, thank you.
can we make a request in the meantime if they could do a desk audit? Like a self-desk audit for? No.
But all the desks aren't filled, so how are you gonna, I guess you could.
Yeah, then basically if they're doing a desk audit, if Michelle's doing the clerk's job, that's something that she's going to put on her desk audit. That's what they are.
I'm not, and this started with how do we best staff City Hall?
Right.
And what do we want to see if we are out in the process of hiring or filling another position? What does that position look like? Which may include writing a new job description.
Right.
Yes, it could.
But
That's what this could show.
And that's what that would have shown, right?
Yeah.
And so now, we're not, pardon?
I just don't think that's something that we would need to pay that kind of money for. But
Okay.
it is one of those things that even Steve, if, like I'm saying, if they did their desk audit, you can see how much of that is accounting pieces, how much of that is kind of an HR issue, how much of that is a billing, like, you can see what kind of job descriptions are being filled into that person in the.
I think we should just defer to Steve and let him figure this out, because that's his job.
Yeah,
It's not really our job.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
he takes their
If he wants
desk
to do
on
it,
it.
I'm gonna pull my motion.
If he wants to do a desk audit, then he can choose how he wants to
Right,
do that.
what he can do, what he does with them.
All right.
You're pulling a
I'm
motion.
pulling my motion.
Okay.
Motion too convoluted.
Well, I think it's not so much it's convoluted, it's a difficult, and it's something that this council has wrestled with. Is, we need to empower our city manager to do what needs to be done, but we need to make sure that staff is also empowered to do their jobs and not feel like they have to take on other jobs because there's a hole that has to be filled. So I think it's a utilization of our staff in the best way possible.
But I think that's not the purview of the council. I think that's the purview of the city administrator. And we need to hire someone to fill gaps.
For sure.
And that's the city administrator's job, is to make this happen, right?
All right, we'll move on.
And if there's definitely a problem, then you come back and say, I have this specific problem.
That's why I thought the desk audit would be good. Steve can evaluate the desk audit and then come back with, hey, I think we need 2 new people in the office and here's what I'm finding, or.
Item 11, informational items.
I have none, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, guys.
Merry Christmas. Admin report.
I'll call you. Yeah. In like
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
5 minutes, Gretel. 5 minutes.
I do have an admin report. I have good news and I have bad news. So the good news is, I almost mentioned it when Amy and Dave were talking about the habitat item, that we applied this grant that they applied for, the city applied for back in 2021, that would have provided the funding for habitat, was denied. And the city was sure at the time that we were going to get this grant, but it was denied. I got a phone call last week from the California Water Board saying, we've reconsidered your application and we preliminarily approved the funding of the entire project with the exception of one piece.
Wow.
It's about a $3 million water
Whoa.
plant upgrade.
Wow.
Whoa.
But it's just a phone call. So I didn't mention it during that report because I have nothing other than somebody on the phone telling me that this is, I have nothing in writing. But from all appearances, it looks like we're going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $3-ish million to upgrade our water treatment plant. They've asked us to provide an updated estimate because the estimate that we provided was $21 and they recognized $26 is different than 21. So they are asking us to update the estimate to get that project done. It may well be in excess of 3 million because it costs more to do projects now than it did 6 years ago. So that's the good news.
That's amazing.
It looks like we were probably going to get that grant.
Fairly high and I probably.
The bad news is you approved a resolution establishing the LLD commission at the last meeting. The RMA has reviewed that resolution that you approved. Their attorney has now given me a written opinion that it's still not covered,
Even as a city commission?
even as a city commission. So our city attorney has been in contact with the attorney from the RMA to figure out
Where we go?
how is it
How do we do
possible.
this? Yeah.
So we're continuing to work on it, but the bad news is I've stopped all work on establishing that commission because when I have a written opinion from their attorney saying it's still not covered, I need to get that worked out before I start asking for applications, asking you to make appointments. So between the city attorney and I, we're gonna continue to work on it, but the work on getting that LLD commission established is paused until we get this worked out.
And so, Sarah, you've been in contact with the RMA's attorney?
Yes, I spoke with him yesterday, and part of the issue is that this was an issue of first impression, meaning he'd never been asked it before. It's sort of more of a hypothetical. Normally he's dealing with, we have a specific claim or we have a lawsuit that's filed, is there coverage? So I emailed Steve and kind of gave him some ideas of how we could possibly revise the resolution to make it a little bit more specific, to make sure that they're covered. The other thing to know is that generally the way that this, for lack of a better term, insurance provider is going to operate is it's always going to be fact specific based on what are the allegations of a claim or a lawsuit. So even when the city council is sued, you're still going to end up sending the lawsuit to them to confirm coverage, because for instance, if it's something that is outside of the scope of work as a city council, it might not be covered. So that's kind of how they operate. And so I would expect that even if they say there's coverage, they will still say it's something along the lines of it has to be within the course and scope of work they're doing on behalf of the city. So hopefully that makes sense.
So they didn't deny it, so we don't have the authority to establish another commission in the city?
No, that's not true. His letter was much more firm than the conversation that I had with him. You absolutely can and establish commissions. These also can be treated as volunteers, and I did ask him that volunteers would be covered if a claim or a lawsuit was filed based on actions that they took in the course and scope of work for the city. He said yes, that would likely be covered. I think what he's looking at is just this sort of more broad hypothetical, is there coverage? Coverage is really dependent on the facts being alleged. So I don't know if I'm making that clear, but that's how the coverage works.
So Sarah, if we ask them if the people on the planning commission are covered, would they say, well, no, because we're not gonna offer blanket coverage, it has to be more specific for us to say yes?
No, I asked him that question, and because the planning commission is a sort of creature of statute, meaning there's a government code that authorizes them to be formed, they would be covered. Just like there's the code that authorizes the city council to, exist, so they're covered. One option is if we can't get it covered in the sense that we're trying, we may be able to ask for an endorsement, but there's probably a cost, and I don't know what that cost is.
What about this? Can the city indemnify the LLD committee?
Yeah, I think yes, and I also think but again, it would still be limited. So I just want to be clear here. Let's say that the LLD takes an action that is completely outside of the scope. Let's say one of them gets sued for sexual harassment. I don't think that the city would want to cover them for something like that, right? But if it's something within the course and scope of their duties as the LLD, it makes perfect sense that the city would indemnify and defend them.
And I think
something like that.
I think that'd be the case even if we were insured. We're insured as a council, but we're not insured in certain personal acts. We're not insured, right?
Exactly.
So that's all we're asking.
Or if you're doing acts that are unlawful or things you're not supposed to do within your course and scope of work, you wouldn't be covered.
Right, and nobody's asking for that. So can we take it in-house and just work on an indemnification, a limited indemnification along those same lines?
Yeah, we can do that. I think it's worth still working through the RMA, because ultimately, even if the city decides you want to indemnify and defend them, I'm assuming you're going to want to use your insurance for that, right? So, unless you want to, pay general fund money for the defense. So from my perspective, it probably makes sense to keep working through the RMA to see if we can come up with something. And if that doesn't work, then we've got other options we can absolutely look at.
And I will just add to that, as far as the endorsement, again, the executive director of the RMA has said multiple requests for cities to include their LLD as an endorsement has been denied.
Oh, wow.
So she said, you can take it through the process if you want, and the next opportunity is in February to do that, but they've denied everyone.
Wow. Wow.
To officially make it an endorsement of the policy.
And I think one of the reasons is because they're acting in those other jurisdictions as a more advisory, whereas in this city, they would be acting really on behalf of the city, meaning some of the work they're doing is work that city staff would otherwise be doing. And those are the things that we just need to make it be more explicit in the resolution. So I'm hoping it's something we can work on to give it just one more shot before we go down a different road.
So basically, I'm in a position, I have to tell the LLD committee that you don't exist, cease and desist, until we can figure something better out.
Yes.
I mean, really, there's nothing else.
Yeah, I think they did that in November. I mean, they ceased themselves in November, so they don't exist they can get together as a group of people, but they have no, since they've officially dissolved and the city's been notified that that board is dissolved, they have no authority, responsibility.
And even though we made a resolution to approve it,
we've
it's
appointed
now
nobody to it.
Right, we've appointed nobody to it.
So we can
it's
still move forward with the RMA's attorney's letter saying there is no coverage. We can still move forward with appointing people to it.
But there's no coverage.
And, go through the process. If somebody does sue an individual member of the LLD, run it through our RMA, and with the actual facts of the allegation against the individual member, let them then make can you hear me, Sarah? Let them then make a determination based on the facts. And their determination very well may be that it is covered. It's just as a blanket in advance, they're not willing to say, yes, you are covered. My impression is that they are willing to look at the facts of a particular case and then make a determination that may be opposite of what they've written to us on paper. How do you feel about that, Sarah?
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because, even volunteers are covered, and at the very least, the group is acting as volunteers for the city. But again, it would be very fact specific depending on what the claim is or what the lawsuit is.
And the last time there was a lawsuit with the LLD, the insurance company did not pick up any of it. The LLD had to pay all the attorney's fees.
Wow.
I'm curious, Scott, maybe we can talk offline, because I'm really curious. I want to learn more about that.
Okay, I wonder if a claim was ever made. That would piss me off. Okay.
I have no other report. Thank you.
So what I just heard you say, Steve, maybe we should move forward and appoint commissioners then.
I just don't know if commissioners, if
they'd be willing to do it?
If we have any applicants, if they know that we have this letter from the attorney as an official document saying there is no coverage. If we do, and you guys want to move forward, I can do that, but it would be up to the individual members if they want to take on that risk, or not risk, if they want to take on that unknown. They don't.
And they have to file their Form 700s, they have to take their training classes, ethics and Brown Act stuff, they have to jump through all these hoops. And the way it was never a problem until we asked a simple question: can we get evidence of insurance for our government to tack on our government document?
Right.
Wow.
It's been going for 15 years, 20 years.
So Sarah, they wouldn't even insure us for a higher premium, huh? You would think if they associated a risk with this blanket commission, they couldn't just assign an additional fee for coverage?
Well, the attorney told me that yes, that was an option, but it sounds like their executive director is saying it hasn't been an option. So, because normally that's how it would work, is they would just charge an extra fee for it.
I think
That's why I think it's worth pursuing. Let's try to revise the resolution. And he also said he would be happy to look at a draft resolution so that whatever we're trying to present has more of a chance of them agreeing that coverage applies.
Okay. Steve.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that them providing coverage at an additional cost involves the endorsement. And like she said, I've already had the executive director multiple times say they've denied every request for an endorsement from an LLD. If the executive board would approve it, there most certainly would be an additional cost for that endorsement, but they've denied everyone.
Probably you wonder
And
why.
I know I asked you this question once offline, but can we apply to get real insurance and see what a premium would cost us to get liability insurance that would cover this stuff? We're going through this RMA, and I assume that's a better deal, but we don't know. I don't think we've ever shopped it.
Michelle, there are other organizations besides just JPA, I would assume. Most cities belong to a
Yeah,
JPA.
And I don't know if we officially shopped it, but we did talk to some other JPA similar, that I think it was maybe 2 years ago. But I don't recall at this moment, like, what was the reason why we didn't pursue it. There was something in there, I think it was gonna cause the rates to go up quite a bit. Because we'd be in a different pool of candidates in the region that we are in.
Do you know how much we pay the RMA for our liability insurance?
Oh, not off the top of my head, but it's, over 100,000.
For how many employees?
Well, it's for the entire city, so, I mean, not
Right.
just employees.
Right, so it's our
It's a
buildings,
liability.
Liability, our
Yeah.
property,
our vehicles.
But
But you're-
our workers' comp through there, our general liability,
like D&O insurance or
Right, do you know?
Or E&O insurance shouldn't be that, without the life, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
Anything else, Steve?
No.
Okay, moving on to city.
Can I ask him questions or is it just
No.
report?
I don't,
Oh,
yes,
you know, I
you
just
can.
wanted to know how the frog bucks were going.
So we have like 3,000 left.
Okay.
And so still available, still able to go on and purchase frog books if you have it. It's just one per person.
Yeah.
Email, credit card,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Yeah.
And then on the water sewer bills, are people getting caught up? How's that going? And are we gonna
Yes.
start charging late fees in January?
So that is something I'd like to bring back to you,
Okay.
to extend that through, since we're in the holidays now, we're still, getting people,
caught up.
but we're getting a good response. Taylor was, this is her last week unfortunately, but we're gonna look at, bringing on somebody temporarily after that.
Okay.
But, also, I think we had a good response. I think of the people that she's called, about 80% have come in. Some of them were surprised,
I never got a bill.
I'm on auto pay, that's the big thing we hear, and
Yeah.
then it's, that auto pay doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so, they're coming in and paying in full and getting caught up, but we still have quite a few, and I think, we're trying to get them on a payment plan, because then they won't get charged, late fees. But I would like to extend it another 3 months, to take it out through March, of no late fees or shut-offs, because then that allows us to get past the holidays and, still continue to reach out to those people, that have large
I
balances.
will tell you, as someone with the new
I
tax
don't,
thing
I think
that
we'd be
took
okay
place,
with just let
my
them
mortgage
do
is
it. I don't
$3,700
think we
now
did it the
a
first
month.
time.
Then I just paid my $1,400 and something water bill, and I'm like, I could not imagine how people can normally do that, because that was like $5,000 my bills.
Sarah, I don't remember us, I think Michelle came to us and said that she was going to charge no late fees until the first of the year. Well, I don't believe we took action on that. Can we just let Michelle continue and just extend it and give notification that we're extending it, or does that have to be action by the council?
I would generally think you would need action by the council, but I would have to look at your code unless Michelle or Steve know off the top of their head if there's authority already for that.
I don't.
I don't either, and I don't remember taking action.
Yeah.
You just,
We
you
still
would,
have time, because it would
we're
be January 25th when we assess those.
Okay.
fees.
so you
So
can,
we
you,
can bring
that
it
would
to
be-
the
in
first
January, so we can get
January,
the
so we
notice
can get
out in the bill?
official. I would feel
Okay.
better about that.
Okay.
Also, to let you know what's covering us, the late fees normally are what covers RAP, our credit, our water
Right.
credits. But we can pay for CAP through non-rate revenue, and we exceeded our projections in interest. And therefore, we do have interest monies that we can use to offset that credit and also extend these not collecting the late
Don't wanna get too
fees
much
without it
So
affecting our.
we'll bring that, the first meeting in January,
Yeah, I'd
the
rather have
extension?
council give us the.
Okay.
authority.
Then we'll do it as an agenda item, that's fine.
Sure.
Great.
Okay, city council reports.
I'll cover COG for Scott and I. So where am I starting at? We did pass the final 2026 RTIP, the Regional Transportation Improvement Program. We also had Pat Bettinger and Tim Murides appointed back to the COG
Okay.
board. We had a clean audit. We did also pass the resolution via the request from the City of Angels to reprogram that LTF money of $40,000. So that was passed. And then we don't have a meeting in January. Our next meeting is February 4th. So that's all I had from COG. Unless you. Okay. And then I did attend our parade. It was fantastic.
Bless you.
I wish there were more people there, but I think because it was really cold. Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of people.
Oh, it was amazing. It was so great. 50 entries and
64.
or 64, and you were judging.
You're talking
So
about
you would
judging.
know. It was great, and I just wish that we had more people down there, but it was a good turnout.
It was, but usually you're used to seeing like 2 or 3 layers of people on the sidewalk, and it was pretty simple.
It was cold. Like that fog was cold. But anyway, it was great. It was a great job.
I thought videos of the fire trucks coming through, and I loved the way all their lights looked in the fog.
Anything, Scott?
Wednesday I attended with you guys the Habitat.
Oh yeah, and habitats.
Open
How was
house.
that?
Yeah.
Had an open house thing on the property.
It was
so
great. It was foggy, but it was great.
It was awesome for me. It's the first time I'd seen it. Last time I saw that property was on paper. So it was really cool to go there and see what had been done and built up. And they're on their way, and I was really happy to hear that they're trying to finalize the contractor's budget, but they're looking at building those houses for a little less than $200 a square foot. So that makes it doable.
Makes it
That
doable.
makes it affordable. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's good, it's good stuff. Here.
Nothing. We haven't had our meetings, and I do have to say though, the CSED people reached out to me after their meeting, which was really nice. We're going to get together in January because they wanted to sit down and I forget her name now.
That's interesting in that committee. Go ahead.
I can't remember her name right now. But anyway, she had wrote and just basically saying she'd like to sit down and meet with me and just kind of get an idea of what we would like and kind of get us up to date and just do a one-on-one with her and him. So it's just to meet up with them. I think it was like the second week of January. So
Sophia?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it is Sophia.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting because listening to all the things that they have going on in these other places and we have nothing. And it would be great to kind of get some kind of relationship established there.
Thank you.
I don't have anything other than in the parade. So I had
No,
a great time, had a
On
float.
the Burley
And the
float.
Oh, that
Family, Broiler Family won. Maybe we're the only entry in the family. I have no idea, but we'll take a
No,
win.
let's take a win.
We'll take a win we can get.
Maybe another judge.
No LAFCO or Utica?
The Utica
Utica's
is
next.
meeting on the 23rd of December.
Oh,
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's stinky.
dedication.
Okay.
So, but we did have a candidate for GM. The offer was extended, the offer was accepted. So the hope is on the 23rd, we, in public, we approved that person.
So I judged at the fair, we did the
Fair?
Habitat, not fair, excuse me, the
Parade.
parade. It was amazing to see that many floats, and kudos to all of the organizers. It was the biggest, bigger than Murphy's, and it was just
Wow.
wonderful, yeah. Did Habitat, and also I've been working with Steve. I get up early in the morning and drive through town, and most of the lights are out, pole lights, and
Oh, the pole lights, they were out during the parade.
yeah, and
It was terrible.
and a lot of those are PG&E, so Steve and Chris are working on a light audit, not only for the lights that are owned by PG&E, but for domestic. And I think they're working on a plan to have hopefully the PG&E lights and then Gold Electric come in and do the lights in the subdivision. And Steve and I have been trying to communicate with Corey Casey to see why There were 2 crosswalks, the one at St. Patrick's Church and the one on the corner of Lee Lane, that they ground off, so there's no longer any crosswalks. And from what I understand now, Caltrans is trying to direct all the foot traffic, pedestrian traffic to the signal lights and cross at the signal. But we've not got confirmation on that.
That could be a long walk.
That is a really long walk.
Yeah.
And so does that mean when they come back online, they're not putting those in?
No, I think they're gonna, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I sent an email to Corey also
Okay,
today, haven't
just
got a
for
response
clarification.
yet, but, you know, there was no, not that they need to, 'cause it's their road, but they
Yeah.
didn't notify us that they were grounding out the crosswalks, and I received a couple phone calls asking why that was happening, and I didn't have an answer, so hopefully I'll get an answer from Caltrans. I did hear from somebody that called to ask me why, said that that Caltrans was out there, and this person confronted Caltrans and said, why are you doing this? And they said that they, being Caltrans, said that the plan is to take them away for right now, but then reinstall them with upgraded paint and the slash marks with signalized, like push the button and the signal
flash.
flash. But there was no timeline on when that would
So
happen.
that might be when the construction.
I also feel like
Remember
they're
the
not.
bubble- the
Yeah, the bump
outs?
outs,
The
and then
bump
they had
outs?
the signals there,
Right,
so.
right.
But I also
So-
feel like they're not communicating, because I did talk to Caleb after the Board of Supervisor meeting on Tuesday. And what's interesting is he said they're basically done until spring. I even asked about the entryways of businesses and stuff, because no, we're done until spring. Well, then the next day you're seeing them out there. I'm like, are they not even talking to each other then?
So that's not, yeah.
From shallow into the tree.
Okay, any other, Alvin, are you reported? We're gonna move on to correspondence.
No correspondence.
Calendars, Michelle.
There you go. So we have UWPA still on the 23rd. Offices at City Hall will be closed and throughout the city, 24th and 25th. And then
26th is a work day?
26th is a work day.
County too.
And then from January, we will be closed only on the 1st. The 31st, we will be in the office. I can change COG. You said they're not meeting on the 7th? Was
They're
that-
not.
Okay, so I'll remove that off of the January calendar. I don't know if there's any other changes that need to happen. Thank you, Kara, for your schedule for LAFCO. So I have that marked and I added it for the 26th of January.
And January is the League of Cities, right?
I believe so.
Is it January in Long Beach or is it in Sacramento?
Sacramento.
Oh, was there League of Cities in January?
Okay.
Is that the one
League of Cities, it's January 21st through the 23rd.
Okay.
That's when you and I are going to, right?
Yeah,
And that's in Sac? Okay.
yeah.
You've had so much benefits in Long Beach. What the heck?
Great,
Okay.
and that's really it.
Okay.
Future agenda items?
Oh, I did, I had some. Hang on a second, I got my things away.
We're looking, I don't know if that would be, you and I had spoke briefly, Steve, about possibly how that would work about putting signs up on, like maybe where existing signs are, or like Nate that keeps asking about signs.
Mhm.
The ones that you had said that we possibly could, or if not, if we need to look into either on the corner or the property that we own, or maybe see about the Rolleri property of like, and then I did talk to the Whittles who said if we couldn't, they just asked a question because they're one of my good friends, that we could put something up on the Foundry, you know. So,
Talking about signage.
yeah.
We could, or the historic district could.
Okay, so
Does the
for
city
future
wanna do
agenda
it?
items, I don't know why I
Right.
can't find my agenda that I literally just had. Okay, here, so I was hoping to get a CIP update for 2026 sometime in the first couple months of the year. It'd be great to do that. Mid-year budget review.
Because then we don't
I'm sure you-
February.
Great. And then Amy said it's coming on the agenda, and that was the notification of business owners downtown, so. For conditional use permit stuff, yeah, okay.
Or across citywide.
Yeah, or citywide too, yeah, I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
Scott, any future agenda items?
Nope. I do.
Yeah. Wait,
Oh, sorry.
Kara first.
Sorry. I thought she did hers.
Did
Sorry.
you do yours?
I did, actually.
Okay.
As I did while Caroline was talking, my future agenda is to eat.
Okay, Alvin.
With Gretel and those guys bringing up those signs, I think that's a great thing. And I think it was the banners. I think it was in the queue.
It was.
I think we hadn't got to the end of picking them. We'd had like a holiday one and a 4th of July one.
Yeah.
We'd had a few different banners.
Yeah.
I don't think we finally finalized it.
Yeah.
But if you could find those would be great. I think it really would be a really uplifting thing to do, and if we have the time to do it. The last thing I would like to bring up is after you guys do your desk audits, individuals, I would love to see the savings that have come from this administrative service officer position, and there's some money savings there. Maybe we could do something with that as we're saving money to incorporate into something else. So on helping figure out the positions we need.
Okay. I never know what Steve smirks sometimes.
Okay, I don't have a future agenda item. I know at some point we're gonna talk about water rates, maybe, especially for some of those businesses that it's been problematic with our new changes, right? You said that you were gonna do that. And I had a conversation with Chris O'Flynn. PG&E came into our subdivision and replaced our underground, and we had pavers. And the pavers came in and they had an attachment to their skid steer, which was a sweeper. So I called Chris and I went, Chris, I just saw this cool thing, as an attachment. He goes, oh yeah. I'm like, but if we get one, I'd like to have a truck. And I was thinking, we talk a lot about how do we empower our staff to make them work not harder, but better, and have less labor involved. And, he said, I've been looking at a vacuum truck. And he says, I could put one guy on the sidewalks blowing leaves and a vacuum truck could suck the leaves. And they could be used in subdivisions. I'm not saying that it's something that we should do, but it'd be interesting to explore it because I've kind of gotten off of the bucket truck. And Steve, after talking with Steve, I think it's probably cheaper to rent one if we need one. Yeah. But this sweeper truck, I'm thinking, I don't know how much they are. But it takes 3-4 guys to blow leaves and rake them and put them in a pile and then throw them in the back of a truck. You could throw them in the middle of on the sidewalk and go down and pick it up. And what I didn't ask publicly is, I wonder if at Capella we put in new smart meter, put in our new automatic meters when we hook those folks up to the new water line.
So
Oh yeah, they will be.
You want
No,
those in the
construction.
I wonder if they did.
Oh.
That's what I'm asking.
Oh.
No, because they didn't redo their drops. They just redid the line feeding it.
So
We gave them more pressure and more capacity.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know where it is.
Yeah, we didn't change their meters a time.
We've only done the 20 in the Mark Twain area.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
and then
that's
any
all.
meter that dies gets replaced with.
Is there a motion to
So
adjourn?
moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All in favor? Good.
Aye.
Thanks. Sam, good?
Ready to go to half hour.